Yo, what up? You can just put me in the background. You don't have to actually watch the video. I'm sorry about my hair. I just took a shower and I don't know what is wrong with it. But I want to talk about Dune. So, for context, I'm not an avid reader. I'm very skibidi toilet brain rot, like TikTok skibidi toilet, like I do not have an attention span that can withstand this level of reading, but I managed to do it. It took me like a month or two after I like read a bit of it, and then I like took a big pause out of it. And I'm gonna be honest, at the beginning I put like in my calendar, remind me every time 9 p.m. read Dune, right? Then I no longer needed it. I read it the same way I like watch The Walking Dead, for example. By the way, let me know if you want to see like a show, like a video. I wanted to make this video and to make like 4 or 5 book reviews in it, like Pewdiepie. But he just, for this book, he makes like a 1 or 2 minute segment of it. I do not have that kind of level of reading, bro. So I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about my interest, which is Dune, for the entirety of the video. I'm gonna give you some context, some introduction. I watched Dune because I saw a lot of people that are avid movie enjoyers said that Dune 1 was really good. And I watched it, and I loved it. It was a bit monotone and boring in the beginning, but now looking back in retrospective, it's good. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna watch Dune 2, and it's gonna be kind of the same. It's gonna be a bit of like monotone, and then it's gonna climax really hard. Yeah, it's gonna climax really hard, and then everybody's gonna like climax all over the screen, and oh my god, I'm so funny. I'm not gonna make that joke ever again. It wasn't. It was incredible. Dune 2. I watched that movie, like I'm not even kidding, like 7 or 8 times. I'm not joking, bro. Maybe even more. I cannot put into emphasis how much I love Dune and Dune 2. And then I decided, let's finish the book. I want to get rid of my skibidi toilet brain rot, whatever. I want to make an attention span that I'm proud of. I want to replace bad habits with good habits. So a lot of time that I would have spent either on TikTok or like watching like YouTube videos like Asmongold's video or something like that, which I use right now to like add a yellowish hue to my color. Right there, his Asmongold video. But I love this book. Now let's compare it to the movie. Which is better? The movies or the books? This is very different. And I cannot tell you. Subjectively, I love the movies. They're my favorite. The reason why is because they were the first thing I saw. Same with Spider-Man, for example. What was my favorite Spider-Man movie? Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man, the one with the lizard. Why? Because it was the one that I saw whenever I was little. It was the one that I had nostalgia the most for. My favorite suit was in that one, and the second one, it was like it. Why? Because it was part of my childhood. I also watched Sam Raimi's, but I was too little to understand them. And I grew up and I realized that Sam Raimi's, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, was just better, objectively. In terms of writing, in terms of everything, Sam Raimi's was just better. Sam Raimi captured Spider-Man. There are very, very few pieces of media that I say that it is a genuine shame for you to not see it, and I feel like the first 2 Spider-Mans from the Sam Raimi series is a genuine shame for you to not see it, and the 2 Dune movies are a genuine shame for you to not see it. These are like top tier S rated like movies that you should watch, that are like pop culture at this point, and yeah, I gotta admit to this, and right now I'm reading Dune Messiah. I just started, I'm not even that deep into it, but Frank Herbert was adamantly against him being like seen as this grandiose writer, and his son writes it in the introduction of the Dune Messiah, and how he was very misinterpreted with the Dune series. And what I want to say with this is that I love the fact that whenever I read the book, I keep hearing all of these people, from like secondhand knowledge. It's like, oh, I read the book and I'm gonna tell you now. And it's like secondhand knowledge. I learned from them what they got. And they keep saying, oh, Frank Herbert is a legendary writer, which he is. I gotta admit he is. But I do love the fact that I do see some cracks in the armor every once in a while, which humanizes him. Like, for example, there was this one scene with Gurney Halleck, the Lady Jessica, and Paul Atreides. There was this one scene where she basically like suddenly turns her beliefs around in like a brief moment. She speaks in like this moment that is supposed to be like this very fast, very like traumatic or whatever kind of event. Kind of like when you're fighting with your family, basically. And in this moment where usually you do not see very long monologues, you do not see walls of text. If I were to transcribe your dialogue with your people, I would not see very big walls of text of you talking. It would be very concise lines of text and dialogue. And she just started like brr, 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 like 4 or 5 lines of like talking, and it showed me like, there it is. This is a human being. Up until then, Frank Herbert was this genius in my mind, and I saw that, and it humanized him. And this is not taking away from his achievements. This is adding on to them. The movies, I really like how they handle Stilgar. In this, Stilgar is more of a... These are not spoilers. What I'm going to say are not spoilers, but he's more of an obedient dog in these movies. Dog is a wrong word, but he's more of a... You know, if you... Sometimes you can categorize people as animals. Like, this is a dog person in terms of like their attachment style. This is a... Stilgar is more of a dog person, you know, he's loyal, he's like, he just listens to Paul Atreides. I prefer the movie version of him way more. He's my favorite character in the movie. I love him so much. It was so, like the, Lisan Al-Gaib, you know how he like raises up and makes that face, Lisan Al-Gaib, and... Oh my god, and it's like just listen, Al-Gaib, you know. Listen, Al-Gaib! It's like that shit. Even my bro, when we saw that movie, we just put the movie on just to watch that part, bro. I didn't like Stilgar as much. Now let's talk about some things that they took out for the movie. Like for example, the Harkonnens are like, I love the style design of the movie. I prefer it over the book. Like them being like bald and like white, you know, like pearly white and whatever, even though that's like because of their planet, but I really like the monochrome stuff and whatever. But in here they're more like, I don't know how to explain, but they're not categorized as such. You are gonna understand if you read the book. I don't really like remember that stuff, because I just think like I just imagine characters how I want them to. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like a lot of times when they're describing like characters in detail, I phase my mind out for a bit, you know. But they do have hair, they have like curly thick hair, or if I remember correctly, the Harkonnens. There are some specific characters which I feel like they took out completely, which are very important. Now these are spoilers for the series, but I'm gonna put on the screen how long you have to skip for you to not see the spoilers, but they're not that big, I'm just naming characters, okay? There are certain characters that were not in the books. Hara, which used to be Jamis's wife, his two boys, which also one of them was from another man from her first marriage that he also slain Jamis, and then Paul Atreides slains him. He shows his nobility and the fact that how loyal he is, like how different this culture is, that in their culture when you defeat a person in ritual combat, if you win against them, you get their wives and their children. You get responsibility over their children. I love the interaction between Paul and Hara, where she goes, oh, I'm still young, you know, she feels kind of like lesser because he didn't choose to be with her, you know. But I feel like Paul in that scenario, he was more... That was me, not you, by the way. He is more respectful towards her. He's not denying the fact, like, how can I put this? He doesn't not take her because she's not pretty or old or whatever. She does not take her because he's not like that, which would be a very good interaction that is missed in the movie. Hara is a very important character, which adds a bit of dialogue between Jessica, and she's like a pillar in Jessica. And this character you also see in the movie, but you only see visions of her, Alia, Paul Atreides' sister, baby sister. When Jessica overtook the Reverend Mother ritual, she did not tell them that she was pregnant, and the baby also became a Reverend Mother. Reverend Mothers are basically the Kwisatz Haderach, but just the female part of the genes. So they see the past, the future, and the whatever, the memories of the Reverend Mothers. It's only for the females. And there's this part in the conscious. I really love how Frank Herbert describes the consciousness. I could imagine it perfectly how he describes it, which is wonderful. But there is this part of the consciousness which they are scared of, which they do not look in, where the Kwisatz Haderach is involved, where he can only look in there. And there's a lot of nods to this, especially in the finale when they're like fighting and they're like looking to the Reverend Mother. He tells her like, I am there where you do not look. Basically in that lapse, in like this darkness where they do not dare to look, there is the Kwisatz Haderach, which is Paul Muad'Dib Atreides. There's a lot of stuff which was not put in the movies. Like for example, the Thufir Hawat was captured by the Mentat. In the movies he's the fat guy that is like doing the thing with his eyes and he has like the little tattoo over here. He was captured by the Harkonnens and he believed that Jessica was the betrayer, not Dr. Yue, and he was basically like on a revenge streak for her, and he helped the Harkonnens and Feyd Rathar greatly because of his great quest to avenge his Lord Duke. Gurney Halleck, I keep forgetting his name, I keep wanting to say Duncan. Gurney Halleck also believes this, and there's interactions between Jessica, the ones that I said that is like basically where he wants to take revenge, but they're like there's this huge misunderstanding, and they don't like he doesn't take revenge, but it's like in this moment where it's like, oh, life or death, they're like fucking monologuing. It's like, oh, you know, Frank Herbert, you know, I see your crack in your armor, you know. It's just his style. He's also very adamant about telling you how the people think in the series, whether it be Fade Rautha, whether it be the Baron, whether it be Fenring, whether it be whatever. You always get a glimpse of what the people think. Something that you cannot get in cinematography. Sure, it can be foreshadowed, it can be showed in some way, but you cannot fully show this in cinematography. This is something about books that is transcendent, that you can get a glimpse into their mind. And this is something that my brother said that he really likes about Dexter, the fact that he does this monologuing, which basically tells him what he thinks, but he does it in the show, right? This never happens because it's usually shown down in cinematography, but in books it happens all of the time. Now, Frank Herbert was misunderstood whenever he wrote these books. That's why he wrote Dune Messiah, and then he continued his spree into Children of Dune, God Emperor Dune, I think. A lot of this stuff. Frank Herbert wanted to give us a cautionary tale, and he also in the introduction of Dune Messiah, you get his son says how he referenced Kennedy, like the president, how he referenced this general from World War II, of where he inspired Paul Atreides from, how these charismatic leaders basically cause fanaticism, people that do not doubt anything that they do, and how he loves in actual American culture that Nixon made them doubt the president, what was it, 40 whatever, I forgot, president Nixon basically made the people doubt their leaders, right? He compares Paul Modibo Atreides to Robert F. Kennedy, if I remember correctly. I'm not really good with names, so you'll have to forgive me but Kennedy, the Kennedy guy. And oh my god, bro, I keep telling you, if you buy these, the Ace hardcovers, they're really good. Buy these and read the introductions. Do not skip them, they're really good, bro. The kind of insights that you get from them, like just in Dune Messiah, it added so much context and so much beautifulness to these golden stories. Now, oh my god, I blabbed on so long. I just love to talk about these types of subjects. Now, I want to talk about something else, which I want to say that I am going to create this series. I'm gonna start doing it. My next few books, and I'm gonna spoil my next few books that I'm gonna do, is I got the Book of the Five Rings, Miyamoto Musashi's book, and I thought that I was gonna get this like little concise book of like poems of Miyamoto Musashi, philosophy and stuff like that, but I got this like Nat Geo Wild style, or Nat Geo like Nat Earth, whatever, the National Geographic stuff. Like, it smells, oh my god, it smells wonderfully, and this cover is so nice, so I don't mind the fact that and it wasn't expensive. It's 14 euros, 15, excuse me. It's really nice, but I expected something else, and I think I'm gonna be reading next In the Buddha's Words. This is a book about the Buddha's teachings, and I don't want to seem like this like overly pretentious white person that is like, oh my god, I am reading into Eastern, like whatever, I am this philosopher. I really don't want to seem like that. I'm literally a retard. I make videos online and I'm a fat like troglodyte, you know. I read books, I'm unemployed and whatever. Like, I don't want to seem like this pseudo intellectual, but the reason why I wanted to read this is because it has some teachings about desire and how you can overcome them, and which I obviously need, and I also want to cultivate myself. As I said, I want to bring good habits into my own life. I want to get rid of my bad habits, and I want to cultivate myself, and I want to grow as a person. I want to grow as a person. I don't want to be like I don't want to be static. I'm gonna circle back to Dune, and this is gonna lead into my subject if you listen for like a 1 minute or two of how I'm gonna monologue right here. But Dune teaches something, and I really love the fact that when you consume any kind of medium, if you analyze it and if you take it somewhat seriously, which people often do not do, but any kind of medium, it gives you teachings. It gives you teachings like Demon Slayer teaches you to be kind. Superman teaches you to be kind. Dune teaches you to doubt your own governments, to doubt your leaders, to look past the charismatic leaders in front of you, and to a lot of times you intentionally, like, how can I put this? You think of somebody as being this grandiose person, and you basically bend what is actually happening to fit your grandiose image. Like, oh, they did this not because they made a mistake or not because they didn't think of something better. They did this because this is the best thing that they can do. This is something that the Fremen do, and I've learned this lesson, which I'll tell you right now. It was Jessica's inner monologue with herself, where she said, how I remember Caladan. It seems so dreamlike. It's like it happened to somebody else, like it happened to another person, not myself, after 4 years of living in Arrakis. This was a little nugget that it resonated with me, because a few years back in 2022, I think, 2023, I forgot exactly, I had the pseudo-radicular nephritis. It was an illness that basically made me so weak that I could not squeeze one of these. I did not have the physical strength, and whenever I say this, I want to tell you, like, cross my heart, literally, I would bet my soul on this. Like, I'm not joking. I did not have the strength to squeeze like one of these. I did not have strength to open water bottles or to wash myself properly. Like, I would lose strength, like, going in my hair. And at the beginning of it, I thought that I had ALS, the disease that the girl from Your Lie in April has, you know, the disease that is fatal. And before that, I was doing art. That was the thing that I wanted to do. I said that my worst nightmare would be to lose my sight or to lose my limbs, so that I cannot draw. And then I found out that there is another way to live out your worst nightmare. And for those few months, especially the first week, the first 2 weeks where I went into the hospital, I like didn't have the diagnosis. I was incredibly scared. And now looking in retrospective, that was my Arrakis. It feels like it happened to another person, like it was a dream. What I think, it doesn't feel like I lived it. It feels like I'm looking at like a third person, like playing Marvel Rivals or like whatever, playing The Last of Us. It feels like it doesn't feel real. But I know it. I have pictures of it. I remember the moments. I remember like glimpses of it. It just doesn't feel real. And what I want to say is that I want you guys to understand beautifulness is found within media. There is wisdom. I am a true believer in democracy. There is wisdom from the peasant to the king. There is wisdom from the shepherd to the lawyer and to the doctor. Everybody has a nugget of wisdom which you can learn. There's this, this analogy, this metaphor, this teaching about this one samurai or swordsman or whatever that wanted to learn, and he went to like all of these masters. And he got to this one master and he was like, teach me something new, master. And he goes, there's this samurai or swordsman that is humble, and there's this other swordsman that is not humble, prideful, impatient. And he goes and he does not listen. He says, okay, the first teaching I know. The second teaching I know. Third, fourth, and he gets to the 10th and he says, okay, I'm done. You do not have anything that I don't already know. And he leaves. And then the humble one comes and he waits, and the 11th was something new. There is wisdom from everybody, and patience is a virtue. What I've learned in consuming media is that there is wisdom in media. Whether it be from your child's little silly story, like a cartoon, all the way to, in the Buddha's words, something that, or Friedrich Nietzsche, something that takes itself very seriously. There is wisdom everywhere. All that matters is that you look out for it. I want to cultivate myself, and I want to be part of this wisdom. Anyway, enough of me seeming like a pretentious asshole. Take care of yourself and have a nice day.